Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and today I'm going to be making another Halloween card. I wanted to try using the shaving cream and my Brutus Monroe glow in the dark embossing powder because I wasn't sure if that would actually work and it would glow on a card. I don't feel like the glow in the dark really stayed, but I did get a really awesome background. So I'm just putting some of the shaving cream on a paper plate, and I'm going to take my Nuvo spoon here and just sprinkle some embossing powder all over this, and then I will mix it in a little bit, and I will add a little bit more. And then I opted to also add from Brutus Monroe, he has some oh god, they're neon like inks right here. And I used some of I have them pretty much in all the rainbow colors except purple. So I've added yellow and green, and then I will add a purple that I have, which is not one of the neon colors. I also added orange, and these are really bright and intense colors. So I thought I wanted to see how this would turn out on dark cardstock. So here's the purple that I have, but it really gets kind of lost in it, but the bright green and orange and yellow show up. So I'm just taking a skewer and mixing these up, and I'm going to take some black watercolor paper and smush this into this shaving cream. And the first one I get a really good coating on here. So I'm going to set that aside, and I decided to do a second panel after I, remix a little bit of the shaving cream on the plate. I opted to just set this aside for now. I was going to try to scrape it off with this little spatula, and that wasn't going to work. So I'm just going to use it to mix up what I have remaining. I didn't add any more shaving cream to it or any more embossing powder or of the, inks. And so when I put this down and I pull it back up, there is almost nothing on it. It's like completely dry. So then I take the spatula and just smear it all over this panel just to see what kind of a look I'm going to get. So I spread it all around, and then I will, move the paper plate, get that out of the way, and then I will take the scraper that I have. It comes in a pack of 2. These are great for things like this, or if you're stenciling. I think they're called Stencil Pals, actually, and you get 2 in a package. So I'm just going to clear that off, and I will take that and I will just scrape off the excess so it's really gritty with all of the embossing powder in there, so you can still feel that it's attached to it. So then I take and heat set these panels to see if I can get the embossing powder to melt, because they need to be heat set. But here's the result of what I got. So I'm just taking some Black Soot Distress Oxide ink and going around the outside of this panel. And I lied. It's not black soot. I believe I used Villainous Potion just to give it a little more, a little purple in there. And then I'm using this stamp set from Lawn Fawn. And I had a bunch of the images already stamped and cut out that were saved in my package. So, if you do that, if you stamp too many, save them. You can always use them for another project. So I'm laying out which ones I have so I can see which ones I need left to stamp. And so I will just take a few images that I needed and stamp them with the black ink. And then I colored them off screen, all of the images, with some alcohol markers, nothing fancy. And then the remaining items that I had just stamped, I fussy cut out because I don't have a die set for this either. And I also took a sentiment, which is from that same stamp set, and stamped that with the VersaFine Clear ink. And then I ended up adding, there's another little add-on to this sentiment, so I put that on there as well before I cut it out. And so I love how these backgrounds turned out. Unfortunately, I don't get much glow out of them, but it gave a really cool effect. So you could do that with the neon inks and skip the embossing powder. I don't know as if it added too much to the backgrounds, but definitely these inks and the dark cardstock made a really fun background to me. So there are all of my, little images all fussy cut out, and I'm just going to adhere which ones go together. Like I'm putting the bubbles on the cauldron, and I'm just going to show you all the colors that I used. Here are the markers that I used. And then I took a piece of like tannish cardstock from my stash and cut that down to give me kind of a floor for all of these to, images to go on so that they're not just floating in midair. And so I'm just going to arrange how I want them. I'm going to put a couple of cats on, put a hat on one of them, put the bookshelf on with some books on it. And then that little cat that's at the bottom, I'm going to take that and put it inside the card instead of having it on the outside. And then I put this cat on the stool so that it would make sense because the spoon's in its hand, so that it has enough, tall enough to reach to stir anything that might be in that pot. And then I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put everything so that I can have room for the sentiment. And that's when I opt to take that extra cat away and put the sentiment at the bottom. And so then I will adhere everything. And I did an action wobbler for the cauldron so that moves. And then I adhered the panel with some liquid glue. And that's going to complete the project. Once I get this little cat on the inside, then this will be all done. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below for me. And as always, I hope that you have a great day.